Welcome, it's Facts You Don't Know. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more, well, and first make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything.
Pandemics like COVID-19 strike with eerie precision every 100 years. 1720, plague. 1820, cholera outbreak. 1920, Spanish flu. 2020, Chinese coronavirus. What's going on? There's a theory that every 100 years there's a pandemic going on. Nothing seems strange at first glance, but the accuracy with which those events take place is scary. The plague cited was not a pandemic. Two of the other examples did not occur neatly in the aforementioned years, and most importantly, there were numerous other pandemics without such synchronicity. I suspect that pandemics are operating on a railway timetable. Yale University history professor Frank Snowden, author of Epidemics and Society, said PolitiFact, noting several issues with the post. Many more than 4 pandemics. The World Health Organization defines the pandemic as the spread of a new disease worldwide. The definition from the United States. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are almost the same. A pandemic is a global disease outbreak. Pandemics occur when a new virus emerges to infect people and can spread sustainably among people. The Facebook post suggests pandemics occur only every 100 years, but this excludes other pandemics, including London's Great Plague in 1665, late 1800s yellow fever, 1957 to 1958 H2N2 Asian flu, 1968 H3N2 flu virus, and 2009 H1N1 swine flu. The plague, 1720 to 1722, an infectious fever caused by a bacterium spread by the bite of infected fleas from rodents to humans, has caused some of the worst pandemics in history, Britannica.com reports. What became known as the Great Plague of Provence, or Marseille's Great Plague, killed as many as 126,000 people in southern France beginning in 1720, according to an article by Cindy Ermis, a professor of history at San Antonio University of Texas, who is writing a book about the epidemic. But because this particular plague episode mainly occurred in France, it wasn't a pandemic. Cholera, 1817. The first cholera pandemic started 3 years before the Post claimed it was. This has killed millions since it first spread from Calcutta along the Ganges Delta in 1817, says the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, which funds health research and services. According to the foundation, during the outbreak of Broad Street cholera in the Soho district of London in 1854, English physician John Snow had used extensive interviews and intricately mapped maps to trace the source of the outbreak to a single water pump, based on his theory that cholera was transmitted by exposure to contaminated water. Spanish flu, 1918-1919, this influenza pandemic began 2 years before what the Post claims. It is more accurately called by modern historians the Great Influenza. The pandemic was caused by an H1N1 virus with genes of avian origin. Although there is no universal consensus as to where the virus originated, it spread throughout the world during 1918 to 1919, the CDC states. In the United States, it was first identified in military personnel in the spring of 1918. It is estimated that around 500 million people, or 1/3 of the world's population, became infected with this virus. The number of deaths was estimated to be at least 50 million worldwide, with around 675,000 occurring in the United States. Coronavirus, 2019 to 2020. The article is more or less right to suggest that this pandemic is from 2020. COVID-19 can be traced back at least to the December 31st, 2019, when the government in Wuhan, China, confirmed that dozens of pneumonia cases were being treated by health authorities from an unknown cause. 8 days later, a new kind of coronavirus was identified in China. On 21st of January 2020, the first case of coronavirus in the United States was confirmed. On March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic, claiming it is the first coronavirus-caused pandemic. A claim on Facebook that a pandemic occurs exactly every 100 years cites 4 outbreaks that it says occurred in 1720, 1820, 1920, and 2020. But the first example was not a pandemic. and the second and third started a couple of years before 1820 and 1920. More importantly, the claim ignores many other pandemics over several centuries that did not occur in such a neat pattern. We rate the statement false.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.